So, what makes the Gospel of Luke different from the first two Gospels of Matthew and Mark? Luke tells us in his opening words that he has taken an investigative approach to capturing the facts so that his readers may know with certainty of the things they have been taught. Written between 80 and 90 AD, this book is a well-documented history of Jesus' life on earth. Because of its intended purpose, Luke's account is the most detailed and comprehensive of the four biographies of Jesus. Almost half of the content in Luke is not found in the other three Gospels. It's jam-packed with interesting and unique parables and stories. Just one example, Luke is the only Gospel that includes a description of Jesus' ascent into heaven. The book of Luke is the only Gospel with a sequel, the book of Acts. Luke originally wrote these two as a single narrative. In Luke, Jesus is proclaiming the coming of the kingdom of God. In Acts, Jesus is proclaimed by the new community he founded, the church. As a foreshadowing of the importance of prayer among believers in his sequel, Luke frequently portrays Jesus engaged in prayer or encouraging his followers to pray. In Luke, we discover more of Jesus' reliance upon his Father through his prayer life. There are several unique things about the writer of the book of Luke that stand out. Luke was a Gentile, not a Jew. Some commentaries say that Luke was written by a Gentile for Gentiles. Luke was a physician by profession, and while he left his practice to accompany Paul on his missionary journeys, we can imagine he continued to carry hope into this area of life on those missions. Maybe think of him as the first of Doctors Without Borders. Luke was not one of the 12 disciples. His writing is based on discussions he had with eyewitnesses who had walked with Jesus and experienced his teachings and miracles while he was on earth. Most likely because he was a Gentile, and because his profession as a physician put him in the path of those in desperate need, Luke's account gives the most attention to Jesus' care and compassion for people who were not esteemed in society. Over and over, we see Jesus' heart for those who were marginalized. These people on the margins include those afflicted with diseases, the handicapped, children, women, the poor, widows, the elderly, shepherds, tax collectors, Samaritans, and Gentiles. Many of the stories found only in Luke have become an indispensable part of our Christian life. The Good Samaritan, the prodigal son, the encounter with the risen Jesus on the road to Emmaus, just to name a few. It's impossible to imagine not having these stories, right? Goodness, our understanding of the gospel is often taught through the prodigal son story. In this story, the father says, "My son has come home," a reminder that Jesus has restored our identity. The father runs and gives his son a hug. This displays that in Jesus we have a reconciled relationship, and the father gives his son a robe, a ring, and sandals, showing us that Jesus has redeemed our purpose. Also in Luke's gospel, women receive special attention. He references women in their stories 45 times. He records female disciples on different occasions and in varying circumstances. Luke 8, 1-3 indicates that women were financially supporting the ministry of Jesus. Luke does not forget to mention those faithful women who followed Jesus from his wrongful conviction to the cross. And the most spectacular story about women in Luke's gospel is that the resurrected Jesus' first appearance is to women. These women were among the first hope carriers as they were able to report news of the resurrected Jesus. With its emphasis on parables and stories, the book of Luke models for us the importance of sharing stories that point to the hope of Jesus and the way to live a kingdom life. Stories have impact and influence. Luke reminds us, as hope carriers, to capture and share our stories of the hope of Jesus.